of substance, if you ask me. And when you lose people like this, you know that you have actually lost somebody. We pray that God will give, the entire party, the nation, her family, and everyone she was related to, the fortitude to bear this great loss.
And may her soul rest in peace. All right, moving on this morning. I don't want us to start on a sad note. But it's something we can avoid. We have to talk about it. The federal government Labour meets Monday to assess implementation of agreement. Labour.
Honestly, Ceci, I don't know. When we were growing up, every Christmas we used to go to Leventis and Kingsway to see Father Christmas and all of that. And there's this toy that they used to put in the parks. When you press it, it makes a noise, and when you expand it, it makes a noise like that. That's exactly how I see the NLC at this moment. I just see them as a bunch of jokers, if you ask me, because what exactly is it that they are trying to do? They can't keep toying with people's emotions. You are neither here nor there. You need to be somewhere and let us know exactly where you are. You start something, you can't finish it through. Nigerians have a lot of things to do. Nigerians are busy. They're looking for food to eat. That's the major thing now. They're looking for food to eat. Don't come and
survival.
Survival. Don't come and start toying with them like their switches or their keys on the piano. No, don't do that. As far as I'm concerned, these people don't exist.
Wow. They don't exist.
Park well.
They should park well. Okay, the federal government and the organized labor will meet on Monday, 30th of October, which is today, to discuss the progress made so far in the 15-point memorandum of understanding signed, which led to the suspension of the indefinite strike planned for October 3rd by organized labor, NLC president said. The meeting was at the behest of the Office of the Chief of Staff to President Bola Tinubu Femi Gbajabiamila. Joe Ajaero at the briefing on Sunday in Abuja said the meeting will appraise the progress made by the government in the last 30 days. The signing of a 15-point MOU with Labour by the government led to the suspension of the planned strike on October 3rd by Labour. The NLC president said Labour would not attend any meeting with Minister of Labour and Employment, Simon Lalong, in attendance. Last week, the NLC accused the Minister of plotting to thwart the agreement reached with the federal government. Part of the agreement with the government was the resolution of the crisis rocking the National Union of Road Transport Workers. The NLC accused the Minister of siding with a faction of the NURTW leadership. This has caused a cold blood between the minister and NLC. Speaking with reporters, Ajaero said, and I quote, "Hopefully we may meet tomorrow with the federal government, all things being equal, on their report and template whether all those issues have been met in the last 30 days. If that meeting holds without the Minister of Labour, because he will not be present in any meetings with us. Any meeting the federal government calls today with the Minister of Labour and Employment, that meeting will not hold. You have noticed of late that meetings are no longer called by the Minister of Labour because he is not in control. Therefore, to depend on him for resolution on issue about labour is to waste our time. For tomorrow's meeting, the invitation we got was from the Office of the Chief of Staff to the President, and that is where previous meetings have been held. The current Minister of Labour has no place in the current industrial relations we are having in Nigeria. On the issue of CNG, they have launched it. Maybe they are trying to fulfill a part of the agreement we had with them. Tomorrow we will hear from them and see how it goes, which is today. The meeting holds today. But they're saying they have lost hope in the Minister of Labour that is no longer in control. That is Simon Lalong. That is one thing I don't understand.
No, have people not lost hope in them? That's another question. You see, I think they should remove the speck in their eye before they remove the log in someone else's eye. How can you call yourself Labour and you say you don't want to mix or mingle or associate with the Minister of Labour? I mean, that's almost impossible. Therefore, you're telling the president that his choice was wrong. So, and I think, if you ask me, I think the record should be set straight. You cannot be dealing with the Chief of Staff when you have a minister.
The minister, yes,
I think
that is wrong.
That is jumping protocol completely.
That's it.
You cannot be trying to set a standard and you are flouting a particular standard. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. And if we have people who think correctly, who think rightly, I think they should call them to order and tell them no matter what it is, no matter their grievances with the minister, they should sit down, have a roundtable conference, talk about it, and reach an agreement. And you don't say you want to boycott the minister. Excuse me, you don't do that. That's so wrong.
It's wrong though, but what's off in the case whereby they think the minister is being biased?
Parties are here. Okay, so if the minister is being biased, what does that tell you? That tells you that they're also on another side. They're on a side that is not favoring them. So if the minister is being biased, like I said, it is something they can discuss. They can talk about. Sir, we think you are being biased for whatever reason, and we don't need a man who is biased. We need to look at this thing objectively, and the minister will have his own points. You understand? It's easy to hear a one-sided story. It's always better to balance it.
Just like someone told me yesterday, the person said they don't want to see the minister because they have nothing to gain from the minister. Reason they want to go straight to the president.
Of course.
Maybe that's why they are saying the minister is biased.
The chief of staff.
The chief of
the
staff.
Chief of staff himself should even be called to order. He shouldn't be taking the responsibility of the minister. That's undermining the abilities of the minister or the capabilities of the minister. That's really wrong.
Okay, we'll go on a quick break, and after this break, we'll be back with our guest on set, because this morning we are looking at micromanagement. This is something everybody needs to know, and it's trending as well. You don't know, maybe you're being micromanaged. You don't know, but you know, when you listen to Mr. Adeyemi this morning, when you hear him out, I'm telling you, you're going to search yourself, and you as a boss, CEO, chairman, you're going to search yourself and see maybe you are micromanaging your staffs. We'll be back after this break.
It's the Premier League all on DSTV. All the goals, all the clashes, all the moments. All of Rashford, Salah, and Saka. All in the language of your choice. All in HD. Available on all these bouquets to choose from. To watch on all these devices. Stay connected for all the action. Get DSTV with an HD decoder. Plus dish plus 1 month confirmed for 18,500 naira. It's the Premier League. All on DSTV.
As a people with one song, with one voice, we're a nation undivided and poised. We will take a stand and build our land in faith to defend what is ours. Here we are as a people with one heart for one cause. We're determined to rebuild and restore. We're free.
Us this morning we have Dr. James Adeyemi. Welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning. Thank you for having me once again.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. I was just wondering when she said Dr. James
Yeah.
Adeyemi. I'm like,
You know, I said Mr. Adeyemi before.
There is Adeyemi, and we have Dr. James Adeyemi. Are you by any way related?
I don't think so.
I'm from Undo.
My is from Kogi State.
You see?
Okay.
But you know, when I introduced you as Mr. Adeyemi, you said no, you backed your PhD
You're now a
just
doctor.
3 days back or 3 weeks back.
3 weeks back.
3 weeks back. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
All right, welcome to the show once again.
Thank you for having me.
All right, this morning we'll be looking at micromanagement and its effect. Just like I said before we went on break, this is something we all need to understand. If you're a CEO, you're a chairman, you're a staff, you're working, or you're about opening your own business, your own office, I think this is for you. That's true, right? Yes, this is for you. All right, Mr. Adeyemi, this morning we're looking at macromanagement and its effect. But before we go into that topic, I want us to understand the meaning of micromanagement.
Okay, thank you for having me. Micromanagement is a management word or a leadership word. You know, is a pattern of leadership style that encompasses the kind of excessive and untrusted heart of leadership. What did I mean by untrusted? When you say a leader is or a management or a manager is micromanaging an organization or its staff, it means that there's a lack of trust somewhere else. That staff or that organization is not being given an opportunity to be able to exploit what he or she has to do in the organization to its fullness. So a lot of leaders or a lot of management staff, the problem is that most people doesn't even know that they have this trait or this style of management in their organization or in their traits, until when things are getting so bad or they have opportunity to go for a seminar or a training and they've been pointed out that this is your style of management and that is why it's affecting your organization. Sometimes you come to an organization and you ask for a staff today, they say the staff has resigned. The following day you come again, the following month you see another staff has resigned, and you keep on seeing staff turnover. You know, you want to ask the management what kind of style are they management style are they put in place. You would then discover that it could be part of this micromanagement, and that is the effect you're going to be seeing.
So we have a question.
Yeah. So in micromanaging, in other words, the boss, the man at the helm of affairs, needs to entrust certain things into the hands of the staff. Am I correct?
You are very correct.
You know, you don't have to do it all yourself.
As a matter of fact, you employ a staff to solve a particular solution. Every staff that is being brought into an organization, that tells you there's a vacuum, and you are bringing a staff in to fill that vacuum. So when a staff comes in, your management style, which is this micromanagement we're talking about, can deter the staff from even being productive, functioning to its ultimate as a result of your style of leading.
Yeah. So in other words, you know, some bosses want to poke their noses into every single thing when you already have a staff who's supposed to be doing that job. So you're like, really the function of a CEO, if I'm correct, is to oversee.
You're correct.
It's to, so reports, you know, instructions given and reports made in return by the staff to the CEO. But when the CEO wants to do everything, okay, we say, Tessie, you're supposed to move this cup in and out every morning. But I come and I do it. You've done it, but I take it and do it again. That's if I'm correct. That's
you are very correct. That is micromanagement.
And it could get on the nerve of
it
staff.
will definitely get, because you are not giving the staff the room to exhibit, to function properly. You know, as a CEO, it's assumed that just like you have a general in the army, before you could be a general in the army, that means you can undo every sphere of the military. So if you are not, you are there to guide. You understand? You are there to correct when people make mistakes, and not to take the job function away from them.
So, in your opinion, what is your advice to leaders who micromanage?
My advice is first they need to look in depth, because you will not know that you are micromanaging if you don't understand what is actually happening within your organization. So the first thing is to have the understanding of what are the effects, what are things that are happening in your organization. So if you begin to notice probably reduction in sales, you begin to notice staff turnover, you begin to notice some lackadaisical attitude in your staff, then you want to look back what are the things as a CEO or as the manager, what am I putting on board to this my subordinates. So I would want to say it is okay to, because if you want to look at micromanagement in some profession, you want to say it's okay to micromanage in some profession. For example, some profession that has to do with life. There are some sensitive medical
workers,
airline. You understand? You can't delegate when you are not too sure.
Yes, now I understand it.
You understand? You can't delegate. But these are just little field. The larger percentage of organization, you have a field where you can delegate.
Yeah. So
I advise management staff, managers, to be able to look inward and give their staff opportunity to exhibit their profession and their in-depth knowledge on that job role.
And to excel.
You know, because without you giving them a enabling hand, how do you then rate them? How do you then give them? Of course, they all have KPIs. You are there to judge them based on their KPIs.
True.
Because promotions, how do you judge them when you want to promote them, when you don't give them rooms to kind of do all that they needed to do?
Yeah.
So that is my advice for managers and leaders that are having these issues of micromanagement.
But do you believe most Nigerian companies practice micromanagement?
Well, I won't say most Nigerian company, people grow out of micromanagement. You grow out of it. You know, there's tendency, you have this issue more with one-man business or a starting business. You know, where you are so much involved in the activity, you don't want to, you don't trust people, especially where there is an open space for maybe kind of thefts can take place, kind of mismanagement can take place. So you don't give people that trust. In multinationals and in a bigger organization, there are procedures, you know, things that have been set in place to mitigate some of these fears in management. So, but upcoming business owners needs to, it's more practice within them, you know. So they need to understand the fact that you need to give people trials. You need to give people enabling hands. You must also understand the fact that while you are leading, you are also creating successions.
Precisely.
Yeah. So
Precisely.
if you cannot give people trust, then how will you be able to identify that, oh, this is the next person that can manage this branch, or this is the next person that can take over this position of a directorship, or this is the next person that can be in this this person is best in this position. You must be able to identify skills in different staffs and know who is fit in one department and the other. So, but if you don't give them this opportunity, it will be difficult for you to do that.
I was just going to talk about the succession plan. You know, where there is micromanagement, it's usually difficult.
Very difficult.
For someone to take over from the leader. And if anything goes wrong with the leader, then there's a problem. There will be a lacuna, there will be a vacuum in that company. And that's why sometimes you see companies, you know, where the leader or the CEO has to leave, is forced to leave, and the staff are jubilating. The staff are actually
jubilating.
Yes. In such a situation, that man has seriously micromanaged.
Yes, that you're correct. We see that in both government sector,
yes,
private sector.
Yes.
We see them all over that. a manager is being asked to leave or being transferred, and the staff under you are jubilating.
They're so happy.
I mean, you won't be blind to know that there's something wrong before you are even asked to leave. I mean, you must have that understanding that staffs are not happy with you. You must have that knowledge that there is something wrong. My staff are not being fulfilled. So in that case, there are times you have meeting. You should create a room for constructive criticism, where your staff can tell you to your face. You know, we call it speak truth to leadership, where your staff can speak the truth to the leader and tell you that this is what you are not doing right. And a leader or a manager or those in management should be humble enough to take to every instruction that is being passed across. Having known that whatever instruction, whatever constructive criticism your staff gives to you is for the growth of that organization. You know, it's for the growth. In fact, there's a gear-up study that shows that leaders who delegate well generate 33% of revenue. You know, once you delegate well, you have more rooms to make more profits, because your staff this time around are working with all of their hearts, and there's this sense of ownership that they bring on board. There's this future that they see in the organization, and so that makes them to be more committed to whatever they're doing.
So to those who are watching us right now and they've learned one or two things from all you've said, and they feel that they are being micromanaged, what do you think they should do?
I will want to advise those that are looking at it that they are being micromanaged to kind of find a way to communicate. If an organization notice or a manager notice that their staff is being grumbling, you should find a way to readdress it through the HR system, or introduce a training system that will come on board to train your staff, and then from the training they will be able to express their mind, because an independent person is coming to train them. And then there should be another rooms of getting feedback. Create a feedback mechanism where on a monthly basis your staff can give the organization feedback without even putting their names, without just create that privilege for staff to give a feedback on a monthly basis. And these are the things that I want to say. If you are being micromanaged and you are not happy, you're feeling bad, find a way to help the management by sending a note to them or raising the point so that it will help them to grow and understand. Because you may think that your manager or your CEO understand what he or she is doing, and he or she does not really understand. We shouldn't get to the point where things are falling apart before then we are now rejoicing. That this organization is dead. Oh no, we shouldn't get to that point. We should do everything possible within our means to see how we can communicate the message across. I understand the fact that there are instances where those that are being micromanaged try to reach out to the management. There are some management that doesn't have the listening here. I understand that. But just do your best. Ensure that wherever I've worked in time past, I put in my best and I find a way to communicate to the managers or whoever is my boss, my supervisor, if he or she is not doing the right thing. I know that, yes, sometimes it bounces back on you in your appraisal. They want to look at what God do you have, to look at me to the face and say this. But the truth of it is that your conscience is clear. You know that you have done the right thing. So that is what I'm going to advise.
Fantastic.
Okay.
You just talked about what the staff who are being micromanaged should do. What should the person who is micromanaging staff? What should he do? Should he go on trainings? Should he put a suggestion box where staff can drop little notes, and advices and all of that? I mean, what are something can be done. I believe it's not a hopeless situation. So what can
yes it's never an hopeless situation, because I said there are some instances where you need to micromanage, which is welcome. But there are sensitive organizations that can do that. You may want to come on board and you think your own organization is in that category. If you're not too sure, I will advise, number one, you create an interactive room for your staff where they could interact. You maybe probably once in a quarter or once in a month, where you could get a feedback from your staff. Not only that, for some staff, they may not have that boldness to speak the truth to leader, and they will keep quiet if that kind of meeting is being held. So I will say, create an avenue where they can fill a questionnaire without being known. You don't know who filled the questionnaires, and it's been sent
a suggestion box,
like a suggestion
box.
So they drop their suggestions, and then I was somewhere else over the weekend, and I still gave that advice. I said it's right time for you guys to have a suggestion box here, so that when customer comes in, you are not there as the owner of the business, and you're complaining that you are not making profit. Actually, the economy today is kind of straining profit of organization, but you need to create a suggestion box to know what your customer are saying behind you. Not only that, to know what your staff are saying behind you. So with that, you can rebrand. With that, you can restructure. With that, you can bring in innovations, and these are the things that is going to move the organization forward. So that is my advice for a CEO or a business owner that doesn't understand if he or she is micromanaging his staff, the staff.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. James Adeyemi. It's always good to have you on air. And for those who have been watching us, in case you've not heard the word before, micromanaging, I'm telling you, this is it. If you're being micromanaged, you've heard what you can do. And if you're a boss, just like Tom asked, if a CEO or chairman is micromanaging his staffs, what should be done? And you've heard it all from the horse's mouth. So please, for us to have a better organization, a better company, a better working environment, please let's stop micromanaging our staffs. And to those staffs who are also being micromanaged, we had the advice, you know what to do. That's how far we can go on this segment on Bumper Breakfast today. Join me, Dr. James Adeyemi, again on Monday. I hope you'll be here next week Monday again with another good topic, because I like it to enlighten us, you educate us. Some people are experiencing it, they don't even know what it is called.
Yes.
And some people are doing it and they don't even know that it has a name. The reason one of my professors in school back in the days, we always tell me, whatever you do in this world has a name. There's a name for it, but you don't know about it. All right, we will go on this quick break, and after this break, we'll be back for newspaper review. Stay tuned.
It's the Premier League all on DSTV. All the goals, all the clashes, all the moments. All of Rashford, Salah, and Saka. All in the language of your choice. All in HD. Available on all these bouquets to choose from. To watch on all these devices. Stay connected for all the action. Get DSTV with an HD decoder. Plus dish plus 1 month confirmed for 18,500 Naira. It's the Premier League. All on DSTV.
You understand the reason I'm laughing. All right, this morning, quick to the paid dailies this morning. We'll be starting with the Guardian, because we have our business segment and our bumper spot update this morning. So quick to the dailies without wasting much time. On the Guardian this morning, OD, we are going into the Guardian right now, on Constitution, the Guardian newspaper this morning, on constitutional for politicians to be INEC rec, Falano. The Oshu APC PDP bicker over Adeleke's 100 billion naira infrastructural agenda. Why probe of 11.3 trillion naira refineries maintenance costs will end futile. Energy challenges undermining Nigerians' development, Tinubu admit. The imperative of a good road infrastructure. P&ID, importance of following legal process and dispute resolution by Buhari. APC risks losing future polls with questionable candidates, says done. And those are the lucky stories that made it to the Guardian, the front page of the Guardian newspaper this morning.
And from the front page of the Nation newspaper, explosion rocks Rivers House of Assembly complex. You can find that story on page 6. Illegal fishing, a threat to blue economy. $600 million lost annually. Losing P&ID case would have cost Nigeria $15 billion, says Buhari. Boat with 100 people on board capsizes in Taraba. Well, that's a very tragic one. Business obstacles to go, Tinubu assures investors. And I say Amio. With Supreme Court's verdict, no more distractions, President hosts German Chancellor. NNPCL withholds 13 trillion from FAAC. NLC threatens boycott of today's review meeting with federal government. Court stops Labour's Occupy Imo plan. And finally, from the Nation newspaper, why modular refinery operators can't access bank loans.
All right, to the Nigerian Tribune this morning, boat with over 80 passengers capsizes in Taraba. You reported 100. The Nation reported 100. And Nigerian Tribune reports 80. Nadeko to Tinubu, implement APC, El-Rufai recommendations on restructuring, power devolution. Or your government appeals Sean of Ogbomoso sack. I don't know my problem with Sean. I know someone is in the studio laughing at me right now. Reps move to give legal backing to artisanal petroleum refiners. CNG vehicles. Federal government inaugurate Lagos pilot conversion centers. And 15-point MOU implementation. NLC threatens to boycott of meeting with federal government. One Labour minister not to attend. To shut down economic activities in Imo November 1st over alleged labor maltreatment. Actually, in Imo State, we should have talked about that, but time did not permit us. What is actually happening in Imo State? Tinubu governors all the mourn as Ohinoyi of Egbiraland dies at 95. Supreme Court judgment, distraction over Tinubu tells German Chancellor. 2 men suffocate inside diesel tank in Kano. And I directed Kiari Malami to fight $15 billion payment to P&ID. Buhari says had Nigeria lost, it would have required schools not to be built, nurses not to be trained, roads not to be repaired. Accuses ex-British Minister Patel of demanding payment. And those are the lucky stories that made it to Nigerian Tribune, Nation, and the Guardian front page newspaper this morning. And about right now, we'll go on a break. But before we go, let me quickly tell you this. Remember, today is Monday. And you know, there's this popular saying that says the way you start your week is likely the way you're going to end your week. Some people say it's shenanigans, but if you watch it somehow, it works. So, and again, remember at the start of the show, I told you about procrastination. Stop procrastinating. The show continues with Abiola Ismail with business update and Stanley Paul Ekawo with sport update on the bumper breakfast. And for us, this is how we'll leave you today. But tomorrow, mashallah, by God's grace, we'll be back on the bumper breakfast with more interesting topic. My name is Teresa Adeyemi.
And my name is Tom Adeyemi. Thank you.
It's a bye-bye from us. The show continues.
Good morning and welcome to your favorite segment, the Bumper Breakfast Show. This is the business segment where we discuss everything, all in business. Manufacturing industry, aviation, oil and gas, banking, stock market, just name it. On the economy, this is where we discuss it. Last week, the House of Representatives talked about why do we going to have hike in the price of aviation tickets. We're going to do that. We're going to do justice to that today. We're going to listen to what the speaker said during that session, plenary last week. And before then, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, called on the former Minister of Finance, Dr. Olusegun Aganga, to come and discuss issues that are surrounding the challenges facing by manufacturers in Nigeria. And the topic of discussion on that day for the team was setting the agenda for competitive manufacturing under the AFCFTA, that's the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, what Nigeria needs to do. That was the day that Dr. Aganga broke his silence and spoke extensively on the challenges facing by manufacturers in Nigeria. Aganga highlighted the importance of competitiveness manufacturing under the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. It's linked to the African Agenda 2063 and also emphasized the need for Nigeria to invest in infrastructure, innovation, and skilled labor to become a manufacturing hub. At that meeting also, the President of Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Otumba Francis Meshioye, also emphasized the potential for increased revenue generation through taxation if the manufacturing sector is provided with a conducive business environment. He also voiced how the concern about the high cost of production, which most local producers grows more expensive than imported products in the country due to unfavorable condition. At that meeting, a lot of people spoke. The welcome address from here and there, everybody, they were just talking about multiple taxation and what government needs to do in terms of reducing these taxes. The burden of tax is on the manufacturing sector. Now, in the next 2-3 minutes, we are going to listen to the excerpts from that meeting. And first, let's listen to President of MAN, Otumba Francis Meshioye.
The first one is multiple taxation. An average member of MAN is subjected to no less than 30 different forms of taxes, fees, and levies. The consequences of the incidence of multiple taxation are immense and include the rise cost of doing business and rapid divestment in the manufacturing sector. This includes combining to the price demand, worsening job losses, and increase the incidence of poverty and low revenue generation from the sector. And I can always say, government needs to realize one thing, that the more this is done, the less the government will gain. If government wants to get taxes, the best thing is to ensure the manufacturing sector has a lot of profits from where it can generate its taxes. A lot of businesses will create a lot of withholding taxes, a lot of VAT for you and CIT as well. Hindering it is working in reverse, and it will be difficult to achieve the goal of getting the money which actually the federal government is desirous of getting. However, we are confident that the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform will adequately address the matter. Our Director General represents the organized private sector on the committee, and we look forward to working jointly with the representative of your Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment on the committee to make the case of fair taxation of the manufacturing sector. Another important thing that we suffer of, high cost of borrowing,
plays a central role in the realization of this agenda. It is seen as a key driver of economic transformation and industrialization, capable of generating employment, fostering intra-African trade, technological advancement, and the reduction of poverty. The emphasis on manufacturing in both the African Continental Free Trade Area and Agenda 2063 is not surprising, given that the manufacturing sector accounts for about 70% of global trade and about 30 to 55% of service jobs are related to the manufacturing sector. It is important to make it absolutely clear from the outset that in modern global economy, industrial development is not luck. Industrial development does not happen by accident. It is the nation's choice. Countries must therefore have an intentional, precise, and intense approach to nurturing and expanding industrial activities. This is even more important for a country like Nigeria, starting from a relatively low manufacturing base, as you heard from the other speakers. Therefore, in setting the agenda for Nigeria's competitive manufacturing, I would first of all like to share some of the initiatives and actions other countries, particularly Nigeria's competitors in and out.
Turn in Nigeria today is hitting hard on all sectors of the Nigerian economy, and the aviation sector is not being spared. Last week, the House of Representatives, had a debate on the continuous increment in the price of tickets, and the Speaker and other members of the House of Representatives, spoke extensively on what should be done and what can Nigeria do, what can the government do to bring this thing down. Now, I want us to listen to the debate as it went during that plenary, and the submission of the Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Abbas Tijani, at that plenary.
$538 with the lowest advertised fare being $1,432 for a Lagos-London flight, whereas the same airline charges between $475 and $601 for a London-bound flight from Cotonou, which is a huge and unfair contrast to what people are forced to pay in Nigeria. Distinguished members, also disturbed that other international airlines operating in Nigeria are guilty of this unfair hike in flight fares for inbound and outbound international flights, which put Nigerians at a disadvantage economically. Worried that if strict measures are not put in place to stop this flagrant hike in flight fares by international airlines, Nigerians may no longer be able to afford international travels, and even the nation's economy will be negatively affected by such unwholesome practices. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues,
we are to mandate the Committee on Aviation to investigate the hike in international fares. And like I mentioned, we cannot discuss fare in isolation without looking at those things that bring about this.
So I suggest this motion, Mr. Speaker, the mover should add the issue of domestic airfare, not only outside, because it's not everybody that can travel outside. It's just an opportunity. So people within the country should also enjoy it.
Now I have standing by Kende Adiaga, a financial analyst and stock market reporter here. Kende, before we go into what we should be expecting on the floor of Nigerian stock exchange today, sometimes last week or 2 weeks ago, manufacturers converged on Lagos to discuss the issue of setting agenda for the sector because of what they are already facing, the players in the manufacturing sector. In your own view, what do you think should be done right now in order to help Nigeria, meet with this African Continental Free Trade Agreement that are already on? What is your view on that?
Well, I think what is important now is a kind of roadmap as to how Nigeria can become a producing nation and not a consuming nation. The manufacturing sector of the economy needs to let the government know what the plans are, how Nigeria can be sufficient in the area of production. And until when we are producing and exporting our products, that we can, the naira can stabilize, and that's where we can have foreign exchange. And that is when other countries of the world will see us as a serious nation, and so our products will do. So what we will have to appreciate to not only suit advance the government, but to how Nigeria can be producing nation, so to say. Because for instance, if you are not producing, how do we improve the foreign exchange? How do we improve Nigeria from the surveillance to the dollar? Everything about us is importation. This is country for our economy. So the manufacturer of Nigeria need to have the plan that Nigeria is going to use that. There, how we can begin to work. For instance, if we are producing certain products in Nigeria, what is the quality of that product that we are producing? And by the time we are exporting those products, we need something on the table with this. And when there was a year, one thing that was a program one time, where it was a thought that if we are doing export from Nigeria, it's not only in time for a lot of destination, but not other activities that is support the rest. But it's only what we have. Because we need for we have some capabilities from this product. And those capabilities are supposed to be to last for like a month or two. But unfortunately, the customer will come back here. People are not able to move afford to get with the population. So, if that happens, how long are we going to be able to produce to export from the produce to produce a quality product that will be consumed outside the country? So, all those things to be looked into. Otherwise, everything about Nigeria improving the economy and what have you. So, they need to come up with a plan. The area of progress or the area of blue, the area of interest needs to be done and progress. When you are a manufacturer, you have some kind of interest, what you call it now, where they give you some kind of zero interest loan. Okay. Where when you have such loan, you can produce, you can import what will help your production. Yes. And by the time you finish that, what they see, what those governments or those countries see, is when a manufacturer has been able to produce and it can export and it generate or bring in forex to the country. It helps that country. So the interest that will be charged is going to be minimal. Some charge at zero interest rate, some 1 or 2%. So that is an encouragement for those manufacturers. Okay. And the same way we need, that is the same kind of thing we need right now. Otherwise, we'll just be talking and talking and talking.
And also, I believe that we also need the manufacturers to improve their packaging. Packaging is one of the areas that we can compete favorably with other commodities from around the world.
Yes. If you look at what is being produced outside this country, it's not as if Nigeria cannot produce such things.
Yes.
Packaging is one of those things.
Yes.
And the quality.
Yes.
Like people have been talking about Ababe. If the Ababe for years that have been talking about if they have improved on their quality, and now everything that is being produced in Aba, that we call Aba meat, would have been a product that foreign countries will fall on top of themselves wanting to have it. Because you can imagine our cocoa is very nourishing, it's a quality one.
This was one of the best in Africa.
Yes, over developed countries.
Yeah.
So people are eager to get products or produce from Nigeria, but because of the quality of such thing and the packaging is what is causing us not to have patronage, so to say.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let's leave that one for now. We are still going to discuss. And another issue we are still going to discuss is on these 43 items, that the CBN lifted a ban on the foreign exchange, availability for that. But today, what should we be expecting on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange today? What was the performance of stocks last week, and what is prospect for today?
Well, the performance of the market was down last week. It was a bearish ending, but we expect that this week, all this being equal, considering the fact that some results came into the market, we expect that the market should be looking up at least. Naturally, the market is a market where it goes up and it comes down.
Yeah.
And so whatever the situation will be, what is critical and important is how we are able to sustain the tempo. So we expect that all things being equal, with results that some companies have released in the Nigerian market, we expect that there will be some kind of upward transaction, that is bullishness as against being bearish. So all things being equal, for instance, the market last week, that's on Friday, closed on a negative note. And so if the results are anything to go by, it should come up. The market last week shows that the index and the market capitalization was down by 0.02% to close at 7,206.16 basis points index and a market capitalization of 36.92 trillion naira against the 36.93 trillion naira the previous week. So we hope that of course the financial industry has continued to dominate activities, and that is where we hope that will help the market to be bullish, because that's a market where information are critical and information comes as and when due. So hopefully that will be what will happen tomorrow, this week. In the market.
Okay. Thank you, Kendi, for your time. We might not have enough time to have more details, but certainly tomorrow we'll give you more time. Thank you so much. That is how I can go for now on business segment of Bumper Breakfast Show. I hope you will join me tomorrow as I leave the stage for Stanley Paul Ikau to give you sport update. My name is Abiola Ismail. See you tomorrow.
To Formula One, where Max Verstappen looks like no one can stop him. The Mexican Grand Prix, yes, he finished in pole position and also won that particular championship. Yes, there was also a boxing bout, not only in Nigeria, but right there in Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia, where things currently right now, as far as the world of sport is concerned, it's Saudi. From football golf to everything you want to talk about. Yes, let's start from the world of boxing. Like I said, Homecoming was the first bout that went down, and Real One Oyekola had the best laugh. He had the best laugh, enjoyed the best of boxing. He made a promise that the fight was going to end in give or take round 2, round 3, round 4. When the man just looked like he made fans waste their money to come watch the boxing bout because he made it just too quick, too early, and too simple. Yes, an early knockout. Now, talking about knockout, a big bout went down. For the first time, this man will be fighting in any of the boxing category. I'm talking about Francis Ngannou. Yes, right there, Cristiano Ronaldo and some other big wigs in the world of sport made it count at the end of the day. But then, after round 3, for the first time in a long while, I can't remember the boxer that knocked down Tyson Fury, but Ngannou did it in round 3. And some boxing fans, some boxing analysts have come out to say perhaps because Tyson Fury had stayed so long before this bout, and perhaps he was just game rusty. Game rusty. He didn't just get his palm back. But hey, this is a man who has never boxed in the heavyweight category or either of the boxing categories you want to talk about in the world of boxing. Francis Ngannou, his first time, dominated the MMA, the mixed martial arts, and tried as much as possible to test his might in the world of boxing, in the square ropes. In the MMA, it's called the octagon. In boxing, it's called the square ropes, as it were, or the ring, as it were. Now, I feel that this man was robbed from start to finish. I, Stanley Polikau, I saw that game from start to finish. I saw the fight, and I feel Francis Ngannou was robbed. How it became an unanimous decision, a split decision that made Tyson Fury retain his bout or his belt, as it were, I still do not understand. And the manner at which, now, in case you don't know, in the world of boxing, now if you get to knock down your opponent, it's an additional point for you. Now, from every punch Ngannou landed, they were shocking points. I beg your pardon. And there were points that ordinarily should have given him more points. The punches should have given him more points ahead of Tyson Fury. But I do not understand how they arrived at Tyson Fury winning by points. Because if it's about points, I think Francis Ngannou deserves to win. But some persons have said, now, after that bout, basketball players in the NBA actually came out to say it's so disheartening, so disappointing that even what's the name now? LeBron James had to say that's the reason why he doesn't watch some of these bouts, because it looks like it was fixed for Tyson Fury. Look at this, and yet you claim that Tyson Fury defeated Francis Ngannou. The world is watching. The world is watching, and like I said, every sports personality across the globe that saw this bout knew that it was Francis Ngannou's title. Now, maybe this will just give some persons, maybe someone like Alexander Usyk, who was on the ringside, by the ringside, to also watch this bout, that feeling that if Ngannou, who has never boxed in any of the boxing category, could do this, then we can also do it. Yes, it's Africa to the world. Congratulations to Tyson Fury, but the bigger congratulations, God bless you so very much, my director. Don't worry, you go and drink cocoa this morning. You are doing a good job. Now, to Tyson Fury, big congratulations. He retained his belt. To Francis Ngannou, nobody should tell me anything. To Francis Ngannou, I think you are the better boxer, or rather, you were the better boxer on the night. Someone should come and tell Sunday they're going to go look for someone to do that. He does not know anything that has to do with sport. The only thing he knows is how to report crime. Let's leave the world of boxing and go straight to the world of Formula 1. Like I said earlier on, it's all about Max Verstappen, the man doing what he knows how to do best. Nobody right now can stop Max Verstappen from doing what he understands and talking about winning at every point in time. Like I said, it was all about the Mexican Grand Prix. Maybe we'll just take a look at what happened at the Mexican Grand Prix. When we come back, we go straight to the English Premier League, and also let's not forget that the NPFL games, I beg your pardon, went down over the weekend. Let's see what happened in Mexico and how Max Verstappen won. When we come back, the program continues.
Prix is go with a good reaction time for the Ferraris, but Max Verstappen is trying to dart between the pair of them. The slipstreaming that we normally see is not happening. Verstappen's got a good launch. He's already up to second. I reckon that's the race lead in the inside line. Checo Perez trying to go around the outside. He's made contact. He's made contact with Charles Leclerc into the first corner. Perez spins round. Leclerc goes over the road and takes back P1, but he overtook on the grass and he's got damage at the front of the car. Max Verstappen turns P3 on the grid to the lead in Mexico City. Dramatic opening corner of the lap as Daniel Ricciardo goes wheel to wheel with Lewis Hamilton. Ricciardo will stay ahead of the 7-time world champion into turn 5, but Hamilton getting on the power, trying to keep all 4 wheels on the road. He finds himself up a place to 5th position.
Great launch from both the Red Bull cars. No draft needed, no slipstream.